It's your daily dose of Donna. Welcome to the show. Today is Tuesday, March 3rd. How is everyone doing on this gorgeous Tuesday? We're getting through the week, slowly but surely. We are getting through this week. Trust me, it's been a little bit of a challenging week already. I don't know if anyone else feels that way. Does anyone else feel that way? It's a lot. How's everyone doing today? You guys, today's a fun episode. Today's going to be all about just like random gossip tidbits. Okay. We're not deep diving any cases. We're not doing anything like that. We're just talking about little pop culture, hot topics. And I'm going to tell you about the things that I'm obsessed with right now that I'm deep diving over on Patreon. But I'm like content um overflown, like overblown. Is that the word? I feel like I'm reading so many books and watching so many documentaries, so I just want to start sharing them with you guys. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. We're going to talk about all of it. Carole Radziwill, Justin Timberlake, Selena Gomez, um, an article that came out that said, should the traders not hire housewives anymore? And then we're going to touch up on some other little pieces of information. So thank you so much for being here, everyone. Dosers, thank you for subscribing and hitting the like as you jump on into the show. We will make sure to have fun today. It's your daily dose of Donna. So I don't know if any of you guys were around yesterday. If you watched DMZ, that was my Instagram live with Molly Dare and Zach Peter. We're going to try doing it every single Monday night. Yeah, Monday night, 5:30 Pacific time, 8:30 Eastern time. What's on my face? I just had thanks, Jolene. Jolene says, Donna, you're a smoke show. Love the new hair on you. Wow, thanks. I didn't wash it today, so it does look a little crazy. Maddie's giving me all the colored hearts. I appreciate all of you guys for being here. Please put your comment in the live chat or even on the replay. I love reading the comments over here. Part of why I do my show every day on YouTube is because of the interaction with the dosers. It's really important for my energy. Okay, so yes, we did our Instagram live yesterday. It was really fun, although I was very distracted and disorganized because I was cooking and I had family stuff like happening in the same hour. But it was a fun time. We talked about a little bit about Nancy and Jim Carrey, and I don't even remember what else we talked. Oh, we talked about Kelly Dodd. Like we talked about a bunch of things. It was fun. Anyway, I hope you guys can continue to follow on over at Instagram at This Is Donna Bowling, and then you'll be notified whenever I go live. Okay, so a few things to talk about. On my list of new books that I'm reading, and is going to be a book that we're going to kind of go deep on in Patreon, is Christina Applegate's new memoir. So she just released it today. Do you know Tuesday is when you release new books, and it's called the You with the Sad Eyes, a memoir. So Christina Applegate, obviously, as you guys know, is a former actress. I mean, I consider her still an actress, but she doesn't act anymore because she unfortunately was diagnosed with a really, really, really bad version of MS. And MS comes in like all different shapes and sizes. It's kind of like a spectrum of a disease, and some people have horrible symptoms, and she sounds to have. It seems like she has really, really bad symptoms. So Christina Applegate, former, smoke show, Married with Children, and Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter is Dead. Best movies ever, right? She's just not feeling her best. And so she's kind of like bedridden. She says she's constantly in pain and she doesn't act anymore. And honestly, it's kind of sad to hear, but I'm very interested in her life. So I'm going to be listening to that. I'm interested in the Liza Minnelli memoir. I just actually heard that Dax Shepard is releasing a memoir. So I'm not so sure how interested I am in this one because I feel like I know so much about his life just from listening to his show. But Dax Shepard does have a memoir that he's releasing where he will be opening up about some childhood sexual abuse. And I guess that came out on his podcast when he was talking to the lead singer from Mumford and Sons. And I'm actually not surprised to hear that he had like some trauma because, he became like a pretty bad addict. A lot of times that kind of comes from one and another. Oh, that's another thing we talked about last night. We talked about Britney Spears and we talked about what's going on over there. Just a big sigh. And who's going to be next over there is Shia LaBeouf. The child actors just completely just don't know how to handle this business. Okay. Let me think what else. Oh, a documentary that I'm watching right now because of one of you guys is called Murder in Glitterball City. Is that what it's called? I was watching it on my computer, my other computer. Murder in Glitterball City. And so I'm going to get into this. Now, it is a true crime documentary for HBO. It's a 2-parter documentary. But this is a really interesting kind of take on something because it's a really, really, really dark story. Like the actual subject of this documentary is dark. It's about murder. It's about, some really crazy like love affair. It's really bad, right? But the documentary is done in like such, I don't know how to explain it other than cinematic. It's done in such a cinematic way. So Glitterball City, let me show you. Okay, I probably won't be able to show you the trailer, but I really want to show you the trailer. Okay, so Glitterball City is old Louisville, Kentucky. And I've never been to Kentucky, and I've definitely never been to old Louisville. But old Louisville, Kentucky is apparently, according to this documentary and from what I'm watching, gorgeous, like gorgeous architectural beauty haven. These really kind of old homes that look just so Victorian and lived in. And it feels like you're walking through, when you're walking down the streets, it almost feels like you're walking through Main Street, USA. Like it's very, very, it probably has a little bit of that New Orleans vibe, or I don't know how to explain it. I mean, I guess let me just look it up, old Louisville, and show you pictures because it's a character. Old Louisville is a character in this documentary. Here is the old Louisville website. Who has been there? Okay, Gwen has been there. If you've been to old Louisville, let me know. I mean, it truly is beautiful. I want to see pictures. I don't need to see about who the people are that live there. I want to see pictures of old Louisville. Oh, they have an Instagram. Let's see what their Instagram looks like. I think it feels like straight out of a book. Like every home looks like this, if you can kind of understand. They have these gorgeous like courtyards and areas where people get together. And I mean, this is just parting, but the homes are all like this, right? These grand homes. So the reason why this documentary was made is there was a book written originally. And the book, yes, it reminds me of Charleston as well. Totally. Parts of Charleston for sure. So Murder in Glitterball City is a book, right? It was a book that was written about by this guy named David Domine called A Dark Room in Glitterball City. And the book is based on a real life crime. And the real life crime happened to also be on an episode of 48 Hours. So you're getting like a lot of different kind of information at the same time. And you're seeing it from like the reality show 48 Hours when it took place in 2010. So it's 15 years, 16 years ago. And then you're also seeing beautiful interview footage because the guys who are producing this documentary are the guys Randy Barbato and Fenton Bailey, who are the World of Wonder co-founders. And World of Wonder does a ton of stuff. They do RuPaul's Drag Race. Um, what else do they do? I feel like they do so many reality shows that we watch. So it's actually really interesting the way they make all the different characters of the neighborhood like fascinating characters. It feels like you're watching almost like a scripted show. Really, really interesting. Now, the actual murder is dark. Okay. It's crazy dark. It's two gay men. It's a very strong gay neighborhood. There's a lot of gay. And actually, the real estate agent that is interviewed, she goes, I always look at gays. They call them the gays. I always look at gays as, I forget the exact wording that she used, but basically she said, if the gays move into kind of like a decrepit neighborhood, you know that neighborhood's going to be the next hot spot. So the gays are like the psychics when it comes to real estate. I thought that was kind of funny. Anyway, so the gays came back into old Louisville years and years ago and kind of like reinvigorated the neighborhood. So the town, the documentary is based on these two guys that were lovers and they murdered someone. And I'm only halfway through, but holy moly. Okay. It was crazy. Oh, you guys were over on watching Zach's show. Is that what was happening? Was he late? He needs to stop peeing on my block, as I always like to say about Zach Peter. 11:30 a.m. Pacific time is my hour. Okay, Zachy? So this is on HBO Max, and I want to show you. Let's see if I can find the trailer. And then you guys can decide if you're interested in watching it. But I don't want to give it too much away from what I've seen already. But you guys, it's really, really, really well done. Here's the official trailer from 4 weeks ago. Let's hope that YouTube will be friendly enough and let me air it for you guys. Here we go. Want to watch it, let me know. I'm definitely going to finish it off and I will cover it over on Patreon. I'll do a stronger recap over there, but I'm fascinated. I love a documentary. If you guys ever see a documentary that you're like, Donna would love, and I think she should get into it if it has anything to do with true crime or like a really fascinating story that's not seriously depressing, shoot it over my way. No one, please, no questions. Is Zach Peters still live at 11:50 a.m.? Because that's illegal. That is illegal. Okay, now on to the next stories. Just a quick little update on Nancy Guthrie, because how can we not talk about Nancy Guthrie a little bit? So we're a month in. We are a month into the murder of Nancy Guthrie. I mean, the kidnapping, the abduction, I'm going to say it's a homicide at this point. Don't you agree? Now, I will say that the sheriff, is he's under my skin. Okay. I think he's under all of our skin. This is what the sheriff actually said for the Today Show. So the Today Show is still airing, clips about this and still talking about it. And it's kind of, we still don't understand why Savannah hasn't made an appearance yet talking about her mother on the Today Show, but that's neither here nor there at this point. She's dealing with her own stuff, and I'm sure she will I would say probably within the next 2 weeks. I'm sure she'll do some sort of interview. But on my Instagram stories earlier, I posted a clip of the Today Show, and let me pull it up for you guys and then let's watch it. This is what the Sheriff Bananos, actually has the balls to say. 31 days in. You ready? Get ready to be annoyed.
Hi, Chanel. Hi, guys. Good morning to all of you. The sheriff tells us as they enter this next phase of the investigation, he now has a dedicated team from his homicide division working with the FBI on the search for Nancy. The sheriff says that he is very much still operating under the belief that Nancy is alive and that investigators have thousands of leads they continue to comb through.
An emotional moment outside Nancy Guthrie's home Monday. Savannah, Annie, and her husband Tommaso visiting that growing memorial, seen in this video, laying yellow flowers and a card with this handwritten message. Though we are surrounded by so much darkness and uncertainty, our love burns bright. We love you, Mommy. We miss you so much. Savannah later sharing this image on Instagram, saying, "We feel the love and prayers from our neighbors, from the Tucson community, and from around the country." Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos tells us he's also not giving up hope.
So, Sheriff, it's been 30 days since Nancy Guthrie went missing. Are investigators any closer to finding the suspect or suspects?
I think the investigators are definitely closer. We got a lot of intel, a lot of leads, but now it's time to just go to work.
Excuse me? Now it's time to go to work, Sheriff Bananos? It's a month late. What do you mean now it's time to go to work, friend? Is he joking? How can you do this? How can you do this? How can you say out loud, as the sheriff who's had so much hate and so much, I guess, criticism on the job he's done, how can he say these things? It's like he's trying to upset us, right? Yeah, we got a lot of leads. Now it's time to go to work. Yeah, okay. Never, ever go missing if you are in Arizona. Or I should say in Pima County, Tucson. If you are in Tucson or in, that area, do not go missing. You're screwed. They're going to only go to work a month after, and that's if you have full media attention. If you don't have full media attention, they may never go to work. Yes, and someone said in the comments, just like Kim Kardashian says, get off your ass and work. Sheriff Nanos, stop talking to us and go to work, my friend. Very frustrating. Okay. In addition, did you notice that the card that was left in front of their house with Sheriff Nanos, with Savannah and Annie and Tommaso was opened by the press and they started reading it and taking pictures of it? I find that to be weird, but also at the same time, I guess, what did you expect? If you're going to lay down a card on your mom's public memorial with all that press and all of those things, like, do you think that people were actually not going to read it or watch it? Like, I just can't imagine that. So I am sure that everything that they did was intentional, knowing that people will be looking. I mean, you don't put an open card. I find the card a little strange. I'm just going to be honest, okay? The card that Annie sent over to mommy, she calls her mommy, and put it on her yard. I just do. I find it a little odd. I'm not trying to say that she's not grieving. I think you can grieve. But to write a letter, like a card, and put it on the porch, I don't know. It's just, it feels very much for public consumption. Because then you would just take it straight to and put it on her dresser in her house. I mean, she has access to the home. For sure, the family has access to the home since the pool men have access to the home, right? Anyway, Emma says tomato, she means Tommaso, looks much shorter than I imagined before seeing the video. Yeah, a lot of people thought he was like 5'10" or something. He's actually or a lot of people thought he was around like Savannah's height. He's shorter than Savannah. And I think Savannah's like 5'10" or 11. So he is probably 5'9" or so. Now, when it comes to this case and talking about it, I tend to defer to a lot of smarter people than me because at this point it's so out of control bananas. And so I like thinking, what would Nancy Grace say? And Nancy Grace is so over it too. Nancy Grace is all of us, I think. She's pissed. she's never seen anything like it. This is what Nancy Grace says.
31. Nancy Guthrie missing. I've never seen anything like it before with this amount of evidence. The guy's on video. We have his height. We have his weight. We have the date. We've got the time. We've got 50,000 tips. Nancy Guthrie still missing. Day 30.
I've never seen anything like it. 33 days. So much evidence. It's the pausing between the words that makes Nancy Grace amazing. So that is that. We're not harping on the Nancy Guthrie case anymore until we have more information. So there you go. Let's move on and talk about a few different stories. Oh, and this actually reminds me, because a lot of people have been sending me this article about the TikToker a TikToker is being ordered to pay, get ready for this, you guys, $10 million because she wrongly accused someone for being the murderer in the Idaho 4 case. $10 million. It is so crazy, but also such an interesting new path, I think, of social media. Now, here's the wildest part about this story, you guys. The woman that is being charged, she's not stopping, by the way. She's all over TikTok. She's trying to do a series about the lawsuit. And I saw she has a part 19. So she's talking and talking and talking. So this girl, her name is Ashley Guillard, Guillard. I don't know anything about her content before because I never followed her. And I don't know, like, you can't really even see her old content because she had her TikTok deleted a long time ago. But she's a tarot card influencer. And so her content, the kind of method of her content is going online and pulling tarot cards, I guess, and then accusing or pointing the suspect as someone based on a tarot card. Okay. Now, a lot of us could say, well, this is kind of scary because we all talk about, oh, what about this person? What about that person? The difference is she never said, well, what about? I'm speculating. Allegedly, she never said any of those things. What she did was she put all eggs in the basket of blaming someone that ended up having nothing to do with the case. And that is a professor at University of Idaho, which is, her name is Rebecca Schofield. And a lot of people, for some reason, this Ashley Guillard decided to go all in on this crazy fake conspiracy that this professor was behind the quadruple murders of the Idaho 4. Okay. So in her videos, which are no longer online, she would say, okay, let's see. She began uploading videos. At the time, she had more than 100,000 TikTok followers in late November 2022. And actually, this is an article in December of 2022 I just see it on the New York Post when I Googled it. So people were really talking about this girl. And I don't know if you were following the Idaho 4 case, if you also really, really followed this girl as well, because there's a whole article about her theories. So it must have been a pretty strong theory at the time. Like, a lot of people must have been interested in it. But this is December 28th, 2022. It says TikTok sleuth doubles down on baseless Idaho murder theory despite suit. So what happened was, back in 2022, she was already sued by Rebecca Schofield. And what she said in the video, in her original video, and this is the teacher, Rebecca Schofield, what she said in the video is, this is the girl, Ashley Gillard. She would double down and attack the doctor after what she called a measly ass lawsuit. So she was making fun of this Rebecca Schofield who was suing her, even though she was very clear in her original videos that, I think Rebecca Schofield did it. In fact, on one of her videos, she said, at this point, it's obvious. Rebecca Schofield silenced Kaylee through her ex. She wanted to silence me, so she contacted my ex. So it became not just about blaming this teacher, Rebecca Schofield. It then became this idea of going after Rebecca Schofield for other things. Oh, she's stalking me. Oh, she's coming after me now here. Oh, she's doing this. So it was like this kind of battle between this random TikTok influencer and Rebecca Schofield. So Rebecca filed a lawsuit. Now, she only filed a lawsuit for $1 million. Okay, that was the damages that she was asking for, $1 million. But a Boise jury ordered Ashley Gillard on Friday to pay $10 million. So they upped the amount after concluding that she falsely accused Professor Rebecca Schofield of having a secret romance with one of the 4 victims and orchestrating their killings. Following the verdict, the teacher Schofield thanked the jury and said she hopes the case sends a clear warning that making false statements online have consequences in the real world. And then she continued to say, the complaint that Schofield had written said that she never even met the victims and she was even out of the state when the murders occurred. Like, she had no connection to these murders. And instead of just like calming down after she was served with cease and desist letters. So can you imagine, you're a TikToker, you're talking about these things, you get a cease and desist letter and she doubles down. She didn't take it seriously. She doubled down. And then police publicly even had to come out and confirm that Schofield was not connected whatsoever to the murders. She continued to post videos and doubled down, posting a defiant video saying, I am not stopping, and challenging why Rebecca Schofield needed 3 lawyers to sue her if she's so innocent. So then the professor's legal team argued defamatory accusations, painted her as a criminal, and accused her of professional misconduct that could derail her career. At this point, jurors took less than 2 hours to return their verdict, and they awarded her $7.5 million in damages in addition to $2.5 million in compensatory damages. So this girl got screwed. And meanwhile, she has now created, what a mess, right? She has now created a new TikTok. She has 600 followers where she is doing a series. She's trying to be like that one. What was that girl's name that did the long series of I Can't Believe I Married This Guy or whatever? That was like the best series ever. Breezy Teasy or Reese Teasy. I can't remember her name. Risa Tisa. That was like the best series, but she's trying to do a series herself about the lawsuit and about getting fined $10 million. And I mean, I'll show you guys a couple videos. It is unwatchable. Look, she has part 26. Here's part 26.
$10 million verdict against me, part 26. So my question is, Rebecca Schofield had everything on her team. She had lawyers, a team of lawyers. She had money from the teachers union, from the federal teachers union. Several unions gave her money for her lawyer fees. She had money from GoFundMe, $22,000.
Can you believe she's still going?
A team, like at least 7 or 8 witnesses testifying.
She just got charged $10 million. And she's on TikTok still going. So here's the thing. I have talked openly on the show about a lot of speculation about a lot of things, right? Not just this case and a lot of things. I would never, ever come on my show or on my TikTok and say, blank is the killer, unless it was confirmed in court, right? I could say, I think that she is she looks guilty in this scene or in this moment, or I feels like this body of his is da da da. But to go and say she is, and then get a cease and desist, and then continue. I mean, she needs to be put in a straitjacket or something, allegedly. Right? Someone needs to stop her. It's giving Candace Owens going after Erica Kirk. It's giving obsessed. Okay, so allegedly, my show is going to be called Allegedly Daily Dose of Donna. Allegedly, this is allegedly our next story. Unreal. Justin Timberlake is also back in court. And I have never wanted to see a video more than I want to see the Justin Timberlake video. Wait, what video do we want to see more? Justin Timberlake's video of him getting pulled over, which he is now suing so that he bars the release, or would we rather see more video footage of what's outside Nancy Guthrie's house, or the video footage of the airplane on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? These are the things that I am curious about in real life. Justin Timberlake is going so far as to file a petition to stop the release of the body cam video from his drunk driving arrest, saying that it would cause irreparable harm. So if you remember June 2024, we reported here that he got a DWI charge in, where was he? Sag Harbor, New York, okay? He said that night that he just had one martini, okay, and that he wasn't intoxicated. And, you know, he got pulled over and that's it. Like he was guilty, and he was ordered to pay a $500 fine with a $260 surcharge. It's literally pennies in his pocket, and complete 25 hours of community service at any nonprofit. So it's probably the nonprofit of the Timberlake household. His license was suspended for 90 days, and he was required to make a public service announcement about the dangers of driving impaired. Has he done that? Because I haven't seen that. So then now he's taking legal action to block the release of the police body cam footage. Why do you think? Yesterday, he filed a petition in Suffolk County Supreme Court, alleging that releasing that body camera footage of his arrest would invade his privacy. Sure, I'm sure it would. I'm sure every person that has body cam footage of getting arrested after drinking and driving feels like their privacy is being invaded. And then he says, public dissemination of this footage would cause severe and irreparable harm to Justin Timberlake's personal and professional reputation. It would subject him to public ridicule and harassment, and it would serve no legitimate public interest. Well, it serves my public interest, I'll tell you that. His attorneys claim the public distribution of the video would expose the footage inside Timberlake's car, as well as expose highly personal details unrelated to the public oversight of governmental operations. His attorneys claim that with the release of the footage, it would reveal intimate, highly personal, and sensitive details concerning Justin Timberlake and his family, and includes information of medical, familial, otherwise confidential nature that is not necessary to inform the public about governmental operations or the performance of official duties. So they requested the court enter an emergency stay prohibiting disclosure of the footage. His legal counsel requested an order and judgment that would prohibit the dissemination in whole or in part when requested in any request by any third party who doesn't have a court order. At the time of the arrest, he had just said, I had one martini and I'm just following my friends home. Okay. The report said that his eyes were bloodshot and glassy. And if you remember, in that report, we found out that the police officer that actually pulled him over and arrested him didn't know who he was, right? And he said, it's going to ruin the tour. And he said, what tour? The world tour. Now, we need the footage. Like Justin, this is a perfect example of the Streisand phenomenon. What is it called? The Streisand theory. If you don't talk about something, less people will care. But now that you're talking about it, because you're complaining about it, the Streisand effect. Now that you're talking about it, because you're complaining about it, now everyone and their mother wants to see this footage. What could have possibly been revealed in that moment? And by the way, I've seen a lot of police cam footage. They will black out and they will beep out anything that is highly sensitive and personal. So it's not like we would be able to see into his car and see his home address or whatever. They would literally, do anything that they could to kind of like manage the privacy. What we need is to know, what is he trying to protect? So I'm asking you guys. Yesterday, Molly said in a group text, what if he had another girl in the car with him? Now, I think that would be part of the police report. We would find out that he had a passenger in the car. Another person said, what if he was like really, really hammered, just like completely beyond like just shit face. And I think that could definitely be part of it, but I don't think that's enough. I think he said something awful. That's my guess. Either because if he had like drugs or anything, thank you for the super chat, by the way. I see it jumping in here. Thanks, Gina. I think if he had any sort of substance on him that he's embarrassed about, like a drug or something, we would know. It would be in the police report. He would have gotten arrested for, having drugs on his person. I think it's probably something he said. I would imagine he was incredibly nasty. Maybe, is it possible? I think the officer that arrested him was white, though. I was like, was he racist? Did he say something racist or homophobic or like something cancelable? You guys are saying Billy Bush played Reese Witherspoon's video. Yeah, I'll never forget that video. We've seen Luann's video. We've seen Reese Witherspoon's video. I want to see that too. It's been so long. And she has completely been able to fight past that. It's pretty crazy how easily she's able to. We've just kind of moved on that case. Here we go.
Ma'am, what did I just tell you to do?
I'd like to know what's going on.
He's under arrest. If you don't get that
I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm allowed to stand on American
Actually, you're not
ground and
allowed to
ask
do anything
any
else.
question I want to ask.
Go ahead. Come on.
You better not arrest me.
Yes,
Are
ma'am.
you kidding me?
No, I told you.
I'm an American citizen.
I told you to get in that car and stay in there, didn't I?
This is beyond.
I
This
told
is
you.
beyond.
You fight with me. I promise
This
you.
is harassment.
It's
You're
a-
harassing me as an
I've given
American
you
citizen.
every show.
I have done nothing against the law.
Reese, can you please? Yes, you have. You didn't obey my.
I have to obey your orders?
Yes, you do. Reese.
No, sir, I
Reese,
do
have
not.
tonight. Reese.
Absolutely nothing.
Reese.
I'm now being arrested and handcuffed?
Yep.
Do you know my name, sir?
Don't need to know.
You don't need to know my name?
Not quite yet. I'll get
Oh,
that
really?
information.
Okay. You're about to find out who I am.
That's fine. I'm not real worried about you, ma'am. I done told you how things work.
He's saying stop.
You want to get out and get up in my investigation? That's okay.
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, guess what? We have a law for that. It's called obstruction.
I'm
Welcome to
obstructing
America.
your justice.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
I'm being anti-American.
Yep. Go ahead and sit down.
Wow.
Sit your butt first. It'll be a lot easier on you.
Interesting. Arresting me.
I tried. I'm sorry. I absolutely 100% tried. I have nothing to do with that. I know.
And her man, Jim Toth, is like, I had nothing to do with that. I'm sorry, I tried. Well, they've gotten a divorce since. But you're right. It absolutely does not affect her reputation whatsoever. In fact, Reese Witherspoon can, like, she's on top of the world career-wise. Like, there's no, I don't think anyone even thinks about it when they look at her. But it's so interesting. It's so interesting that Justin Timberlake is so nervous about this, as if he doesn't already have such a bad reputation right now. You know, he has such a bad reputation. I think Justin Timberlake is not a liked guy anymore. I think either if it was the stuff about Britney Spears or just, the fact that he has clearly like a big drinking issue, because we've already now seen him like mess up 2 times when he was drunk. You'll never forget when you sit there and have when he had that girl's hand on his lap, or he put his hand on her lap at a New Orleans. I feel like it was in New Orleans, like up on a bar. He's just not in a good like high of his career. Remember his concert? Everyone said that he did so badly, and he was it looked like he was sleeping the entire time. Like he just wasn't in it. Yeah, he was lip syncing at his own concerts, Miranda. Exactly. Reese Witherspoon's was not as bad as I think it could be. Like there's probably so many worse situations. I've watched so many like episodes of Cops and stuff to see how horrible people are. I feel like Reese was just really trying so hard to be, she's like such an Elle Woods, right? She's like, I'm an American citizen and I've done my studies and I know that in this case, I am allowed to do da 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 da, and he was like, shut the fuck up. He's like, little girl, get back in the car. But that's the problem, I think, a lot of times with celebrities and with police officers. And in fact, just anytime I see a person go down, like with arrests, it's usually entitlement, which really takes it 10 times worse. The worst thing you can do if you're being pulled over or arrested is basically try to tell the cop that you are like too good for this and you're not sorry. And it's, it kind of, remember Karen from Real Housewives of Potomac? It's part of the reason I can't watch Real Housewives of Potomac right now. Because Real Housewives of Potomac, after seeing that Karen scene of her getting drunk, beyond drunk, like wasted and getting behind the car and then getting arrested, in the way she talked to those cops, like I will never, ever be able to look at her the same. And I really liked her. So that to me is tough. If I ever got, God forbid, knocking on wood, if I ever got arrested, I would, you can't predict what you would do if you're actually in those moments, but I think I would be like, yes, officer, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. God forbid. That's my biggest fear. I don't want to talk about it. I actually have anxiety just thinking about going to jail. I think that's my biggest fear in life, is going to jail. Not really, but like one of them. Really scared. Okay, I'm only going to do good things. That's why I Uber everywhere. I really do. I very rarely drink more than one drink and drive. Like I will have one drink with dinner and then drive. But if I know that I'm going out and I'm going to have a couple drinks, I am in an Uber. Always, every single time. Okay. Let's move on. So Justin Timberlake is an idiot. And I have to say that we need to see the video now. And if we don't see the video, then I don't think it's fair, because why are we allowed to see Joe Schmo's video, but not Justin Timberlake's, just because you have money? Please. It could be like enough. I mean, if he's really, really worried about it coming out, I think he was just completely hammered. Release the Justin tapes. Yeah, justice for us, not Justin on this one. Carole Radziwill is back on Bravo. We need to talk about this because Bravo and I are having a little bit of a situation. I find myself being less and less invested in Bravo. And I don't know if it's just because of who I am as a person and just my content interests. As you guys can see, I'm very invested in like real life stories and true crime and like justice and corruption and all that. And even though reality TV is that, it does feel like a version of that. But I still like certain shows, like Summer House. I love Summer House is true reality TV. Yes, of course, they put them in a house and they produce like parties or whatever, but you really do feel like it is real life. You see them getting hammered and getting mad and eating at 3 a.m. and just doing things that you actually feel like those people actually do. Fighting and relationship issues. Real Housewives, I'm really struggling with. Okay. Just in general, this last season of Salt Lake City, I still haven't finished the finale. I never watched the reunion of Salt Lake City. That was my top Real Housewives. For some reason, I'm just not invested anymore. I found myself bored throughout the season of Salt Lake City. OC, as we know, was horrible. Beverly Hills, which is also one of my absolute favorites, and I die for Rachel Zoe. 2 episodes I'm behind. 2. And yesterday, I actually had some time to watch TV. And I choose a documentary or something else over it. Like, it's not on my priority list. It's a bad sign, considering I've been like the biggest Beverly Hills fan from day one. So as you know, Real Housewives of New York had its resurgence or its reboot for season 15. And it was maybe 14. I can't remember. And it was a fail. Okay. They did it again for the second season and it was a fail again. It was just not good. There was it got really dark. There was some crazy stories. They had that insane Brie. What was her name? Gosh, I can't even remember. She was the most annoying, constantly lying and just so off. And now I can't remember even her name. I wanted to delete her from my life. She was the one that lied about either who was her abortion. No one, Bryn. I was like, is it Brittany? Is it Brianna? Bryn. Ew. But I liked a couple of the characters, a couple of the girls. Now, we find out it's coming back for another season. We knew that they were doing a revamp on Real Housewives in New York again. And we knew that they were going to probably fire a lot of the cast and do it again. And they decided to hold on to Aaron Leachy, Sai De Silva, and Jessel Tank. These are the 3 that they decided to hold on to. I can't tell you how boring that is to me. It truly does not do anything for me. And I really, I find myself I will try to watch it, but I don't think I can. Now, in addition to these 3, they're bringing on 3 more. Where did they post about it? I know they posted about it. Was it yesterday? Yeah, here we go. So these are the 3 that they brought back. So boring. I mean, Sai is so unlikable to me. I can't even put my finger on exactly what it is, but I just find her to be incredibly unlikable. Erin has an interesting life. I like her family life. But also snooze fest. And Jessel was kind of interesting, but that's it, right? Now, they also announced that they're bringing these 3 new girls. Haley Glassman, who's John Gosselin's ex-girlfriend. That's literally the claim to fame. Erica Hammond, who's the wife of a big billionaire exercise guy, I think, and Daisy Toy. I actually don't know who Daisy Toy is at all. If these other girls are great, that's fine. Now, we've already found out that one of them is not great because Claudia Oshry, my girl from The Toast, and you know I love The Toast, just dogged on her yesterday on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. So Claudia Oshry, who I listen to and I love, and I know that that's unpopular with a lot of you guys because a lot of you guys, tend to find her to be unlikable. I love me some Claudia. She posted about this new housewife. Where did she post about it? She didn't post about it on Instagram? Okay, so she only posted about it on TikTok. So she basically found out, she's like, I recognize this Haley Glassman name. And the reason why I recognize it is because she's in my DMs all the time. So here's what she had to say in case you guys haven't seen this.
Hi, okay, I have some tea. I don't know if tea is actually the right word for this, but I saw this post on Dumois talking about how new Real Housewives of New York has started to begin filming. Here are the returning housewives and here are the new ones. And the new ones, sound a little familiar. Of course, I know my girl, Erica Hammond. Great casting. And then I saw the name Haley Glassman. I could not put my finger on why her name sounded so familiar to me. So I went over to her Instagram. I did not recognize her face, nothing. And then I went to our messages, and that's when I realized, like, I know Haley Glassman. She has been a troll of mine, like a deep internet troll since 2017. The first message I ever received from her in 2017. Oh my God, your voice is so annoying, like Janice from Friends. Here's another one. Damn, you were thin. I must have posted like an old photo of myself. She's obsessed with my weight. Look. Skinny mini now. Looks great, but you gotta own you're on Wegovy. I was on Ozempic. You're an influencer and you should really be honest on your platform about it. When you need any skin tightening, since you definitely lost enough to need it, I'll set you up with a great plastic surgeon.
Okay, and the video goes on and on. So she basically spends her time DMing big podcasters and influencers like shitty things about her weight. And this is our new Real Housewives of New York. How embarrassing. How embarrassing. Like, you literally started with the upper echelon of New York, like, society, right? I mean, you can hate Jill Zarin now, but at the time, she was running with a fabulous circle. I'll never forget that first opening. And Ramona and Luann. And I imagine that actually now, if they were unknown people, Luann, Ramona, Jill Zarin, all of them, they probably were in people's DMs too, if there was actually Instagram at that time. But it feels so lowbrow to be hiring someone that is literally just like trolling in DMs. This is who we're going to watch on our shows. I'm not into it. Now, the important thing that I wanted to talk about is Carole Radziwill. And I am not going to follow the crowd. You guys, there's a lot of sheep in the Bravo community. There's a lot of content creators who anything Andy Cohen says, they'll say, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. I'm so obsessed. I love this. Oh my God. Best idea. And I'm not ever going to be that. You guys know that about me. I am never going to follow the herd. And I'm going to call shit out when I find it to be a little strange. Carole Radziwill, her claim to fame is the fact that she was married to John F. Kennedy Jr.'s cousin. It's all she talks about in her book, What Remains. It's all she talks about a lot, and the fact that she was a former journalist. I liked Carole Radziwill a lot when I was on, when she was like actually on Real Housewives. So this was years like what, 2014, I don't even know. I liked her on that show. And in fact, I bought her book. And What Remains, her book, is incredibly well written and well done. But there's a ghostwriter attached. You know that, right? And that was a big storyline for Carole. Aviva Drescher, who happened to be on the show, she's the one that pulled her leg and threw it in the middle of the room. She claimed that Carole Radziwill had a ghostwriter. And Carole swore to God. I mean, that was like the big story. Carole was like, no, I did not use a ghostwriter from my book. And it was a massive, massive storyline. But she did. And I knew she did even years ago because I had met someone who knew the ghostwriter. But then not even that. In the Epstein files, Carole, who happened to be very close to Ghislaine Maxwell, a predator, a woman that was, I don't need to tell you guys who she is, but she literally was doing Epstein's dirty work and finding women to present to him, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They were like this, those two. And Ghislaine Maxwell actually says in one of the emails, she writes something to someone, if I'm not mistaken, I really don't want to do the research and pull up Epstein files, but she writes something to someone and says, you did a great job writing Carole's book. There's pictures of the two of them together. I think there was a picture of Carole in Ghislaine's home. These two were tight. I want you guys to imagine if any housewife that isn't like super, super popular with the crowd, let me try to think of someone that I could like put in that category. Like Teresa Giudice, who has a lot of fans, but a lot of haters. Can you imagine if she was in the Epstein files as being besties with Ghislaine? And then all of a sudden Andy Cohen said, we're bringing Teresa back. Can you imagine how much hate she would get and Bravo would get? So here's my thought. If you want to bring Carole back as a friend of these 30-year-olds, these like young housewives, which is weird anyway, because Carole's a lot older, fine, I guess. But we can't overlook the fact that she's heavily involved with a really shitty circle of people. Not now, maybe, but she used to. She used to be heavily involved with a really, really shady group of people. And if they overlook all of that and pretend it's a non-issue and just talk about, again, love story and Carolyn Bessette and JFK Jr., then I find that to be absolutely just nasty business. Because you can't pick and choose who you decide is problematic based on if you like them as a person or not. If they do shady things, if they hang out with shady people, if they are shady, then they're shady, and it shouldn't matter whether or not you like them as a person or not. And so for me, I just like to see I like to see morals and like holding strong. If you don't like people that are in the Epstein files, then let's not like people that are in the Epstein files or friends with them, right? And if you don't like people that are conservative, then don't all of a sudden overlook it the second that Andy Cohen decides to bring on Vicky Gunvalson, because I saw that right in front of my eyes, right? They were attacking Gretchen for being, well, actually, Gretchen did do some really problematic stuff, but it's like, I hate this, but Andy Cohen says I should like this, so I love this. But I hate this because Andy Cohen said. So it feels like everyone is just kind of like a puppy dog to Andy Cohen in this world, and it's strange to me. I'm like, don't we have any morals and values? Andy Cohen makes his like life about hating certain people. Like he's such a hater online, right? We see that. You have to if you go on his threads and stuff. I mean, he's very like politically loud. So if he's going on there and he's screaming up about these things, then at the same time, then like let's just like hold strong. Hey, that may not be the best person to bring on. So Zach and I were talking. Is Zach in the comments? I see you guys are saying something about Zach. Zach and I. Oh, here's Zach. Zach, I have a bone to pick with you about the beginning of my show today. I don't understand why you're peeing on my lawn again. We'll talk about it in just a minute when I call you later. So Zach thinks that Carole's back because Golden Girls or whatever, the Golden Legacy girls went over to E. And so Andy all of a sudden was like, oh crap, now I need to bring someone back. I disagree. I think the best thing, I think the thing that makes the most sense is that Carole needs to have a little bit of an image revamp now. Because if you talk about Carole, you're going to talk about her involvement with Ghislaine Maxwell, being besties with Ghislaine. And we've said it throughout the entire P. Diddy situation. We've said it throughout all these different crimes. If you're friends with a shady person for years and years and years, you can't now all of a sudden be like, I had no idea. Right? Don't you guys agree that if you were like Jay-Z, I mean, this is just my opinion. Allegedly, my opinion is that Jay-Z was very aware of Diddy's criminal acts throughout the years and like shady shit. Because I do think you kind of know who your friends are and your very tight circle is. So it will be interesting. And I don't know. I don't love it. And it doesn't even feel like it matches the show to have her on the new Real Housewives of New York. Now, speaking of housewives, there's an article that just came out today, and it's talking about Traitors and Housewives. And anyone here that has watched Traitors or was watching Traitors and watches every season, you know that the housewives are a big part of the show. There's always like a little bit of a housewives alliance. They always try to get the housewives out. They always say like housewives hunters, etc. But this new article for Vulture says the Traitors needs to ban housewives in future seasons. And I found it a little bit polarizing. I'm curious if you guys agree and you think that the Traitors should ban Housewives. It says season 4 marked the housewivesiest season yet. 5 alumni from Real Housewives were cast. And for the first time, 2 of them, that's Candace and Lisa, were selected to be traitors together. And this is like a normal thing that happens because of Bravo and Peacock, and Housewives have a lot of drama, and it's really important. And I think it's actually really good for the traitors to bring in that Bravo world and the Housewives world. So I actually think it does work. But now this author, Joe Reed, is saying that even though there's a lot of drama because of the Housewives, after last week's lackluster reunion, and by the way, I don't know if you guys watched the reunion. I finally did over the weekend with my son. I was so bored. I played 16 games of Rummy Cube on my phone while I was watching the Traitors reunion. Like, it was so boring. I don't know what they need to do. Maybe they don't need to have Traitors reunions. Like, why are we even doing Traitors reunions? But anyway, it became clear that the Housewives don't want to play the traitors. They want to play the Real Housewives of the Highlands and have arguments that spill out into social media, then meet up for Housewives-style reunions with their patrons, Andy Cohen. The contrast this season couldn't have been clearer. It said Rob played a near-perfect game, while Lisa and Candace made mistakes, and then spent the better part of 2 months telling any Instagram follower or podcast host who would listen about how they were betrayed in a game where that's literally the name of the game. We need to put the Housewives and Traitors time out. We need a no Housewives season. It said what made Candace's performance at the reunion so frustrating was that for the first handful of episodes a season, she seemed to be playing a masterful game. She kept a low profile and acquired allies along, like in both the Traitors turret and with the faithful. She does get on Rob's case about aligning with people like Colton, but she had her own alliances. And as soon as Rob made the decision to cut bait on Lisa, Candace could not roll with the punch. Furious at Rob's betrayal, Candace threw a stray vote at Rob in a way that made for good Housewives TV. Her blessings are many, but her patience is none, and it ended up sinking her game. She couldn't account for that vote when pressed by the other faithfuls, and within a matter of episodes, she was banished. Rob got an earful from Candace on her final day in the castle, and she continued to make her case on social media and podcasts that Rob played dirty or was somehow out of bounds by targeting her. At the reunion, she relayed a rumor that Rob told Colton both of their status as traitors, which is expressly against the rules. And Portia said from backstage, this was a page ripped directly from the Housewives reunion playbook. Cite a rumor, cast suspicion, try to catch the other cast member in a lie. And it says the difference here is that on Housewives, a lie can be a smoking gun, but on the Traitors, it's the point of the show. So I'm curious from you guys, that he continues to talk about how, look, it's not like the Housewives bring nothing to the Traitors. They have attitude and humor and great confessionals. But with the exception of Phaedra Park's excellent turn on the Traitor, oh my God, how good was Phaedra on Traitors? The Housewives have repeatedly shown they either won't play the game, like Dorinda, Cherie Whitfield, and most successfully Dolores last season, or they'll refuse to accept the parameters of the game as Lisa and Candace did this season. He says, I need a year off. Just one season of the Traitors that lets the gamers play against one another instead of an in-team warfare setting against moneyed socialites. Or even better, get more random celebs like the ones who participated this season. Johnny Weir, Tara Lipinski, Maura, and Kristen Kish took so much crap for being dummies, but they brought a ton of energy. Even Mark Ballas got some moments at the end when he finally made good reads. I don't want the Housewives banished for good, he says. Just a season or two to let their absence make my heart grow fonder, and then hopefully cast a few who understand that betrayal is the name of the game and receipts don't matter at the round table. I thought that was an interesting article. Now, personally, I love the Housewives on Traitors, and I would never want to give up those moments that we had with Lisa fucking Rinna and Candace, for example. None of the other, like Carolyn from Dubai, literally Dubai, right? I found her to be incredibly boring and not interesting. But I like some of the Housewives. I just think it depends on who you cast, and maybe they put on 5. That's way too many Housewives, I think, for one season. Which housewife should be on the next season of Traitors? If you could do anything. Although I have to say, I loved Tara and Johnny. I loved watching Tara and Johnny the entire season. I thought they were almost the best. Tara is so cute. Does anyone feel that way as well? Okay. Finally, Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez is not only apparently not herself, because you've heard that whole story, right? I saw a tweet today an Instagram post today that was talking about conspiracy theories. I should probably share it to my Instagram stories. I'll share it later, unless I can find it really fast. And let me see if I can find it. I'll look for it. This girl, she has 400,000 followers, and she's explaining in this episode, or in this moment, she's explaining to her husband conspiracy theories about Selena Gomez, and I was dying. I sent it over to Zach. I wonder even how, I don't want to look for it too long, but it was so interesting to me because I just found her to be like, I just like the conspiracy theories. I don't know if I necessarily believe the conspiracy theories, but here you go. Here, I just found it. Hold on. Tell me if you guys think this is insane.
For educational purposes only.
Okay, it's for educational purposes only. Her Instagram is organic.chaos.
First conspiracy is Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez were together. We know this, okay? They were given a choice to either sacrifice her or their baby. And they chose her, which is why she doesn't really look like how she used to look.
Right.
And they also connect it to the files and cloning or some type of mask. And can you guess the person who's playing her, allegedly?
Gina Davis.
Gina Davis. Okay.
Yeah.
The baby that lived was allegedly given to the Kardashians, to Kourtney Kardashian, because her one son, Rain, looks an awful lot like a young Justin Bieber. So at one of the VMAs, I think, where he did his performance, and he was like crying out, and like there are lyrics to the song that talks about how she crossed the bridge that he can't follow, something like that. And he's just like weeping. And then going off of that is that Hailey Bieber's dad, Stephen Baldwin, allegedly bought Bieber from Diddy, and she is now his handler. Doesn't that make sense?
That does.
Okay.
So obviously these are just like fun conspiracy theories. I actually don't believe any of that. I really don't. I just think it's kind of fun to talk about how crazy people can be on the internet and how wild our thoughts and processes can go, which is why, there's so much drama online and in the comment section. But the point is that Selena Gomez is on Benny Blanco, her husband's podcast today. Now, I spent way too much time watching this podcast today because I'm actually kind of fascinated by it. I have to be honest. This podcast that they do is really well done. It's called, I'm pulling it up for you guys. It's called Friends Keep Secrets. Now, I played last week, I played for you guys the moment where his feet were literally black on the bottom with dirt, and he farted, right? He went, "Burr," and he did a little fart. This week's episode, Selena's on the show, and I actually was kind of fascinated because the way that they shoot the podcast is really interesting. It's almost like a reality show. I think they have those cameras that are just like, you can kind of see up in the top here by their light, like they have just cameras placed around their house. This is not their house. This is their friend's house that's also on the podcast. And it's just like a very natural friendship or natural conversation. You see them a little in the kitchen, then you see them later in the living room. Here, take a look.
Honestly. I finally have a girl with me.
I want us to see the craziest people that have DM'd you.
So funny. There's no such thing as dumb questions. Is it weird that our husbands go to the bathroom together?
Who do you think could fight better out of you two?
Selena. Should we do an arm wrestle?
1, 2,
Oh my God!
3.
Friends! That's it?
Yep. I was thinking about this today. Would you be jealous if in a movie,
So if you can see, it's done in a very kind of reality reality TV show. It's a really smart thing. And I don't think they have any cameramen in there. I think it's all done with robotic cameras that like follow you and are placed all over. I mean, it's actually kind of interesting. The point about it is that Selena Gomez, I hate to say it, you guys, and I understand she has lupus. I understand the way she talks is not the way she used to talk. Remember, I used to work with her years and years ago. She used to, obviously she's aged, and I know she has lupus. I don't believe lupus creates changes in the way you speak. I don't know what that is. And if I am wrong, let me know. But I am very curious why she speaks the way she does now. Here's just like a little bit of her talking.
If it's Selena.
No, but who's like so okay, what would you say? What would you say if Dave goes, "Oh my God, I got this role."
And it's a sex scene where they're like
and they have to both be fully
And he didn't write it?
Yeah.
Dave did not write it.
Dave didn't.
And he got the dream job?
No. Hey, I really, but Dave maybe made it a little bit different.
My answer.
What?
He made it a little dirty.
Honestly, my
Oh my God, she's not
answer would
talking
be-
now.
But I would say, with her, I'd say,
He's already in.
I'm sad.
It is.
So glad my husband.
What would you do,
Sure.
babe? So what would you do if I said
Our relationship would be over. I'm just kidding.
You know the question?
no? If
No,
I
I
said
don't. I'm just.
No, I think you know the question. If Benny got cast, Steven Spielberg is like
Yeah. You named
Margot Robbie.
Uh-huh.
And
she's so pretty. It's so tough.
I think yes, realistically, as an adult, I'll give you the answer of if this is what he really wanted.
Yeah.
I'd be a little perplexed at him wanting to just randomly do something that he wasn't in control of and just signed on to do.
Yeah. No, but
I'd
you
be
would
a
understand
little
it was Martin Scorsese.
Okay. So that was hard for me anyway to kind of hear. Oh my God. I didn't realize my face was so big on the screen because I'm watching the other screen. I didn't realize. I thought I was small on the screen, but I guess you saw my reaction the entire time. And she talks like she doesn't open her mouth. And then she also moves it's very strange. On Only Murder in the Building, she talks this way too, which makes it hard for me to watch because I think it's actually very important to enunciate as an actor and as just like anyone that uses your voice. Can you imagine if I did my podcast like this? If I did it. Okay. Chris says lupus can affect someone's teeth and jaw. All right. So like I said, I know that she suffers from lupus. So this is not trying to be mean if that is what the reason is. I just know that when she was younger, she definitely didn't speak this way. But then later on in the episode, about 40 some minutes in, we're talking about children and family and our wedding and marriage and all of that. And Selena Gomez, and I'll make it bigger for you guys, she does something and just remember his feet. Remember his feet from last week when I talked about this. And they were literally, the bottom of his feet were black, dirty. Watch this.
Take care of a kid and come to the realization that you didn't realize that you have to like be paying attention to them.
Yes. I did.
You know,
I came to a similar realization.
But I think that can exist with still wanting kids.
I think it can because
I'm terrified.
you know what they say in every freaking movie or book. It's like you're never prepared for it. Just happens.
Yeah, like for me, the thing on kids is
It should be leashed.
Let me. What?
no, I want kids so bad.
You're not putting your kid on a leash.
That seems logical to me.
He's
I see your brother's kid running around. They gotta run at all. They're chasing after the kid. The kid can fight.
My mom said I was very. You like that?
Oh, don't make it a moment.
Oh no, I wasn't. I liked it. It made me feel good. I love you so much.
I love you.
I was just thinking about back in Malibu when I.
Did you guys see that?
Good.
Don't make it a moment.
Oh, no,
I'll make you.
You like
Selena Gomez.
Just for your kids.
My mom said I was very.
Bends over and kisses his toes. Okay. So you have to remember that they're walking around the set completely barefoot the entire time. You see them take off their shoes when they first walk in. I can't do it. Like, I'm struggling. I'm struggling with a lot of choices here. Now, I love that she loves him, and I really do believe that she loves him, and he loves her so much. You can hear it, you can see it, you can feel it when you watch these shows. Like, I watched a lot of it. But why are you kissing his toes? You didn't have to. You could have even just put your arm on his arm or his like leg, you know? Kissing toes is really, that goes a step too far. For me, for anyone that has to watch it, right? Don't you guys agree? So I just want to remind you that as much as, you know, sometimes your husbands annoy you or gross or whatever, just remember that maybe their feet aren't as dirty as Benny Blanco, and it will make you feel better. That's how I like to look at these things. Thank you guys so much for being here. I love you. I appreciate you. It was just a random episode of fun, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow on Daily Dose of Donna. Thanks for subscribing, liking, following on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, leaving comments, telling your friends. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.